Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Salt Mines official Twitch channel as our continued coverage of the Summer Aegis Champions League. It keeps rolling on here with the GSL stage, and we have a featured matchup for you on a nice Monday night here. It's going to be between two of our top 6 teams seeded into this ACL split. It's going to be Supernova, yes, that NACL Supernova, taking on Cupid Esports. But I won't be the only one bringing you through it. I'll also be joined by the Marvel Rivals master, Jungle Main caster himself, Shibby. Shivy, excited to be back on a broadcast with you, man. I think it's been, I would say too long. I don't know exactly in time, but too long. We'll go with that one.
You know, people thought I left. That was never the case. That was never the
left,
case.
no?
I never left. I love League of Legends. I love casting League. It's just, I've expanded my horizons. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But
No.
I'm glad I could be back for this banger of an ACL matchup now that ACL is officially partnered with Riot as well as a tier 2 tournament. I mean, I remember casting Aegis way back a couple years ago, their Champions League. So it's been really amazing watching this organization grow into what they've become and hosting tournaments like this, because we have such a stacked ACL this split. And the matchup, like you said, Cupid Esports versus Supernova. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the same Supernova that's competing in NACL, they're competing in ACL as well. Their schedule is stacked to the brim.
Yeah, let's introduce that Supernova roster that isn't just competing in the NACL by this point. They are at the very top of the NACL as it currently stands. So if you're not too familiar with how that roster goes across the board, it is obviously Hoarder in the top side, the rookie of the NACL split last time round. You bring in Dardoch at jungle, a Blaze Olive ABO at mid lane, and Scary Jerry and Breezy at the AD carry position. I know we're not going to talk too much about bottom lanes in this matchup, should be for reasons we'll get into later, but I just want to stay on the airwaves. Getting to see Breezy finally with a guy like Scary Jerry. Oh, as a Breezy super fan, I've been waiting. I've been praying for times like this. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, I think when the Supernova roster was constructed, when I first saw it, my immediate mind was like, that's 3 former, North American LCS or L10, right? LTA North players on that roster with Dardoch, Ablaze Olive, and Scary Jerry, all with, differentiating success in their career. And they're going up against 3/5 of what is that Polestar roster. And I love that you mentioned Hoarder, because I think the dichotomy of Dr. Calculus and Hoarder, how their careers went in their kind of rookie splits in NACL, kind of showed you, development versus like what happened to someone that had a lot of expectations. I think Dr. Calculus was someone that we really thought was going to come into, tier 2. He was ready off of his performance from NACLQ with Duckies, right? Obviously his performance in CLOL. He was ready for that next step. Hoarder was also in that same vein, and you're just kind of seeing the trajectory of both of their careers, with Supernova now competing in NACL and being the best NACL team at the moment, and with Dr. Calculus kind of hitting the typical bumps and roads that a budding tier 2 player has.
Yep, and becoming one of those top lane gatekeepers that we always like to talk about. Throw that word around between tier 2 and tier 3. We are into game 1 draft. Really quickly, though, I want to go through the formalities as usual. Cupid, you already heard Shibby talk about it. Top side is Dr. Calculus. His Ducky duo from before in Bio is in at jungle. Adam, formerly known as Udder Adder in a couple years prior. Now Adam is in the mid lane, former AMI mid laner. And then you've got Hub and Rudo to round out that bot side. Definitely where we're looking for the biggest advantage to go towards Supernova's side. No disrespect to Hub and Baruto. But let's see what champions Scary Jerry and Breezy want to go for, because if there's anything, if you don't know much about Scary Jerry, this guy is a lane-dominant AD. It's the huge reason why he was able to make it to tier 1. So already seeing a lot of top lane, mid lane focused bans. Wonder what Supernova might be thinking with a B1 here, especially if Varus gets left up here, Shibby. I mean, it's just the freest B1 you can ever find in the current meta.
Yeah, and I'm getting word that it's actually not Hoarder in the top side. It's X-Royal, so they could actually tip that top lane matchup a little bit differently. Dr. Calculus, might actually find a bit of an easier matchup, I'll say. Granted, Hoarder obviously has looked fantastic in the NACL, so Supernova are playing with 4/5 of their regular roster here. But like we mentioned, that top lane matchup, very interesting. I think the other matchup that we can talk about, Slayer, is that mid jungle, right? Blaze Olive and Dardoch versus Adam and Bio. I mean, those are two just vastly different mid jungles. I think what I've liked about Bio since his time with Pulse and Ducky, just the fact that he has always been such a very good aggressive jungler, and the fact that he's worked so well either with his top lane when it was Dr. Calculus, or with his mid lane. I think he's been a very bright spot on a lot of the rosters that he's been a part of, and Dardoch has just been consistently a very good jungler. You can never count this guy out. no matter how many years he's been competing, he always feels like a force to be reckoned with. Whether he's busting out the Dr. Mundo jungle, if he's swapping to support for whatever reason, or he's coming out with the Poppy jungle, he's always got a pick ready and handy. But there's a pick that I know you're very familiar with, Slayer. You've been casting the LPL for a while. That is Pantheon locked in for Supernova. That's Pantheon locked in for Dardoch.
Well, you know, the funny thing is here, Shibby, on the flip side, this is also a champion that I think in the LPL has been on a meteoric rise of their own. Wukong is going to be the response here for Bio. Very typical tier 1 level jungle matchup, so it's awesome to see in this, like you mentioned, officially tier 2 tournament that the ACL brings to your airwaves. We're going to get to see the meta kind of stay consistent. I'm curious though what this turn looks like for Supernova on the B2-3. There's a lot of ways you could go with this, especially knowing, like we talked about, you feel like you have the advantage pretty starkly in bottom lane and mid lane as well. And for Cupid, looks like they're going to grab the Lucian. So, all right, Hub and Baruto are going to try and take it to one of the best marksmen in NA when it comes to laning. And that's one of two ways to approach this matchup, Shibby.
You know, I love the fact that they've also taken away the Varus option, that maybe something Scary Jerry could actually fall back on, right? I love that, you know, when Varus is picked up in some of these situations against these more lane-dominant AD carries, that he generally has a pretty good time, whether he opts in for the more poke-orientated build that we've been seeing, or if he goes for on-hit. I'm actually very surprised that Cupid didn't just take the 1-2 Wukong Azir here, but Supernova are going to respond in kind with Taliyah Pantheon, and that is a very dangerous mid-jungle duo. I am actually not sure what Cupid Esports mid laner Adam could take here that'll keep him relatively safe. Like, he is going to die minimum maybe once or twice into this mid jungle duo, and that's going to be Aatrox for X-Royal as well. So Supernova have locked in their top side completely because they're not worried at all. I don't think they believe Dr. Calculus or anybody on Cupid Esports side has the counter ready. And Lucian Braum, very classic lane, something from like season 4, season 5, but still very good. Also, you know, can kind of maybe dissuade the misfortune that something that Scary Jerry has been able to play and pick up prior. So I think it's a good, you know, kind of initial pick into what Scary Jerry might want to play.
X-Royal stepping in here for Supernova, though. A player that has been in the ACL for some time now. I think has been somewhat an impressive, you know, an impressive debut and was able to kind of garner some attention. Obviously, Bach, the head coach, liked him enough to put him in the substitute position. And in his first action, I believe, of the ACL so far, he's going to blind an Aatrox into Dr. Calculus in a meta where I really feel like tanks are kind of king. So that is going to be very fun to watch on the top side. I like the Ambessa ban already coming down from Supernova. That's another one of those pretty heavy carry characters that can sort of throw hands at this Aatrox. And also just a good strategy from Bach to kind of protect his substitute top laner, give him a comfortable lane. That's always just a simplistic approach whenever you have to bring a substitute in.
Yeah, and right now, Cupid Esports doing their due diligence, giving, you know, a lot of respect to this bottom lane here, removing the Rakan, removing the Nico, both big playmaking potential for Breezy, like you said, Slayer. We're going to see what Supernova end up banning if they take another top laner out. Yeah, like you said, there's a world where Calculus just kind of locks in a meatball, like you said, Ornn, Scion, something of that nature, and just looks to kind of provide that stable front line. But I am looking for damage from this mid laner. And I'm, like I said, very surprised, like we said, mentioned that Azir wasn't picked up or anything like that, was banned out. So there's not a lot of options you can pick into Taliyah. Ari's not really that good of an option here. I would argue, you know, I don't know if you'd go for like a Syndra, but instead they're actually going to go for Orianna. Safe ball delivery system with the Wukong. You've got that invis into Cyclone, into Shockwave, which can provide a lot of damage. And Supernova right now is relatively short range, right? They got Pantheon, Aatrox, and Taliyah for the most part. Could be interesting to see if Supernova lock in for more of a short range composition, or they pivot for more something long range, maybe a Jhin that we just see locked in here.
I like that a lot. I think this is a pristine setup because it's the sort of layering of CC you can now go for from range to set up this Pantheon. If you're Dardoch, you now can jump in, you know, land that stun, throw the E up, just ignore all this damage. Taliyah, one flick back. All of this sets up for Deadly Flourish. All this sets up for a curtain call. So I do like this approach. And ooh, Breezy. I am, you know, Bard is North America's champion thanks to MSI now, so love to see some of our future star supports in this region lock in the Bard. There are a few champions more fun to watch than Bard out there on the Rift, Shibby.
That's a bold claim considering Keria still walks the earth right now.
Okay, sorry, the West. You're right. I meant to say the West. My bad, Goat. My bad, Keria. The West. The NA Bard is the West's champion in NA now. We'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Busio has looked fantastic on it if we want to kind of draw to that comparison. And I like the fact that Bard is rising in popularity. You've got an immobile mid laner in the Orianna. There's a lot of pick potential here. There is a world where Supernova just come in 3-man gank mid here on Cupid Esports. There's nothing Adam can do about it, right? The setup's going to be there. You burn flash, Dardock's going to burn flash for flash, stun you in, and there's going to be a whole heap of CC coming your way. So I genuinely fear for Adam in this mid lane matchup on this more immobile champion, especially with Bard roaming around the map. But Supernova have really kind of put their eggs in the top side basket here. Jhin, Bard, two of the most supportive, more utility-based bottom lanes here, just to provide a lot of that support. The Deadly Flourish, the Curtain Call, just opening up fights into Cupid Esports. But you look on their side, they've got Orianna, they've got Renekton, they've got a lot of good individual champions, but I feel like a lot of what Cupid Esports wants to do, smash you early, and if they don't, they might just start losing out once it comes to that mid to late game status.
That's a great call. I think we're going to look at certain early objective fights to be huge for this Wombo from Cupid Esports. But we're not there yet. We are just set to go into Summoner's Rift, and I actually got word that we are. So let's head onto the Rift. Game 1 of our ACL matchup of the week here on the Salt Mine to kick off week 2 here at Supernova taking on Cupid Esports. Remind you, 2 of our top 7, if you will, top 6 teams, Pool 1 team versus Pool 2 team. So don't be surprised if this may just be a preview for a future playoff matchup down the line, this Aegis Champions League split.
I think it's worth to note here, as we're kind of getting through the early parts of this, invade or stack or whatever, that Supernova actually ended up dropping a game last week to Weber State, a CLOL team here. And granted, a very good collegiate team. I think the stack schedule with NACL and ACL doesn't really play well into their favor, right? It's so much scrimming, so much time they have to spend focusing on 2 different leagues, right? That it's not surprising that, they might drop a game here or there. There is a world where Cupid does take this potentially 2-0 or 2-1. Is it likely? No, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities, especially with what Supernova is focusing on. They probably put a lot more importance on NACL than ACL.
And there's also some, kind of a revenge aspect for a lot of this Cupid roster. Remember, Bio, Adam, and Dr. Calculus came in on that Polestar roster from last NACL split. Gotta think they're a little bit angry now that they're out of the main Tier 2 league. Got to think they want to show that, hey, we can still compete with the best of the best, because right now, Supernova in the NACL, I'm not talking opinions, folks. I'm talking standings, are the best team in the NACL at this current point. So we get to see the minions crash into the lanes, as always. Both junglers going for mirrored clears. And I do see X-Royal, the guy we got a spotlight, is subbing in, filling big shoes with Hoarder, going with the grasp, Aatrox top. Don't see that Keystone come out in a ton when we see Aatrox in the Tier 1 level, so just looking to sustain, I assume, in the lane. Is Hub able to get the Braum concussive blow stacks and force the barrier early out of Scary Jerry?
Yeah, that was a nice kind of usage of the, like you said, concussive stacks there and kind of getting that burst down onto Scary Jerry. Yeah, X-Royal with that grasp, like you mentioned, just looking to survive into Dr. Calculus. This is Dr. Calculus's lane to leverage, right? You're going up against the sub for Supernova. It's not Hoarder, it's X-Royal. You have to leverage the advantage you have with that Renekton into Aatrox in that early game tower spike. While we look on the bottom side, Scary Jerry and Breezy kind of looking to survive here, looking to maybe get Breezy out of lane ASAP so that he can start roaming and affecting the rest of the map here. So Scary Jerry looking to push this up. Maybe they'll go for a cheater here right now, but getting that barrier out early is going to put a little bit of pressure on the Supernova bot lane. But Hub, like you mentioned, he wants a little bit of revenge. Cupid wants a revenge, because we talked about it offline a little bit. You mentioned it earlier, Slayer. For a team that was just so quickly in NACL that we felt some of these players could make it, there's no better stage, there's no better opportunity than to try to prove your might against other NACL teams at a somewhat equal Tier 2 competition with ACL.
Yeah, and the ACL, I'm telling you, oh my gosh, Dr. Calculus is going to threaten X-Royal with a solo bolo. Royal trying to use that Aatrox healing to get some health back. Does survive not having to burn the flash, so that's a bit of a win, but I do see Bio on this top side as he's completed his full clear, and X-Royal's going to have to be pretty careful about overstaying. He does have a ward in his own Tri-Brush there, so he'll know if the dive is setting up. Is Adam also getting chunked down this mid lane, but both junglers shading towards this top side. Dardock, the genius of the jungle at Tier 2, always has a clue where the enemy jungle wants to go. Royal's going to try and escape away from his Tier 1 turret, and he does. Bio not able to chase him down, and now Dardock in position but not going to jump into a 1v2 of his own. Bio's actually going to try and start the action here as Dr. Calculus tries to set up a little bit of a proxy.
Yeah, and that decision by Bio actually ended up getting himself double crabbed, right? Going for that potential dive onto X Royal. Mr. Dude, or Dardoch in this case, got both bottom and top scuttle here, gets himself a nice little XP advantage, and kind of keeps his top laners safe. Royal's going to take that TP. Dr. Calculus isn't going to be able to leverage that advantage anymore. So very smart play from Dardoch there to shade down to that, or shade up to that top side. But a very, I'm not going to say greedy, but an interesting look from Bio that actually doesn't get him too much, right? Doesn't even deny X Royal that many minions. So right now, Supernova stabilizing, like you mentioned, Adam in that mid lane, getting chunked down, having to use that TP, getting that forced out as well early on, could be tough for Cupid Esports. But right now, Cupid unable to leverage those early game advantages that we mentioned. That first objective has spawned. This dragon has spawned here. And I'm going to give it to Dardoch and co in this bottom lane to potentially pick this up here, especially with how pushed Cupid Esports bottom lane is in at the moment.
Yeah, Breezy and Scary Jerry doing a really good job leveraging their range advantage. And you can see they're using all of their mana just to constantly shove these waves under hub. It's accrued about probably a wave's worth of a CS lead for Scary Jerry here by the time all these get cleared out. Maybe a hair under that tick. But Dardoch does actually clear back towards his top side, which does allow for Bio to step up and at least get vision on this dragon. Hey, say, hey, that first neutral objective isn't going down off the map just yet. I'm curious to see where the priorities lie. The bar game towards the mid lane, the flick back from ABO into Breezy stun. It's just flawless gameplay between the jungle support duo and first blood claim from Supernova.
My crystal ball working in pure perfection there. We talked about those mid lane ganks coming in from Breezy, and what can Adam really do? Once that stun lands, the follow-up from ABO here is absolutely lethal. Bio was there. Bio had to simply watch as his mid laner went down, so very well played from this Supernova bottom lane and this mid laner here to get the ball rolling in mid lane. That's a flashless Orianna, by the way, so definitely expect Breezy to come back either when he hits level 6 with that ultimate, or he'll just come back with that flash and go for another gank here. Dardoch as well. Pantheon has flash up as well here, so he could go for that flash stun and potentially look for another kill onto the mid lane. Both bottom lanes have swapped to the top side here for those grubs. It looks like right now a lot of aggressive trading going on.
Scary Jerry just doing such a good job staying away from the Braum. You could win these trades into the Lucian early if you just don't eat that stun. And that's exactly what he does to space it out and actually get the winning trade into Boruto. But as you called out, Grubs not going to be too far away. Dardoch on the top side. Not spotted on this top side. Oh, no, he is spotted on that pink board. So good call from Bio to immediately say on the bot side, hey, all right, Dardoch spotted on the cross side of the map. I'm just going to take this dragon for free. So Cupid able to grab the first neutral despite the Bard antics that we were hoping for in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Dardoch also has Grand Skyfall available for themselves here. So if you're looking for that mid lane gank right now, is level 6 to Bio's level 5, even with that dragon taking that double crab early on, giving him that, you know, kind of substantial EXP lead that we talked about. Dardoch looking to make moves, right? Pantheon, that's the big thing. Very feast or famine champion in my mind. And there we go at the mid lane.
Yep. Grand Starfall. Shockwave not going to survive. Adam is routed again. Supernova making it clear that this immobile Orianna is going to be the problem, but even their bot side up top lane is finding good trades. The exhaust Boruto is going to be able to survive the crit shot, but here comes the curtain call for Scary Jerry, and he lands the first shot with ease to knock down feats of warfare for Supernova, just rolling through the early game like you expected an ACL team to do in ACL.
Yeah, and it doesn't even feel like Supernova are necessarily just like hard mechanically outplaying this team, right? Obviously in the top side, very good trading from Breezy and Scary Jerry, but I mean mid lane was just kind of a tried and true gank, right? Reset on your timers, look for a gank mid, see if you can get it. Oh, I have Grand Skyfall, I'm gonna come mid, I'm gonna look mid after I recall, and we're gonna find a kill here. Dardoch didn't even have to burn the flash onto Adam there, so Adam's already 0-2 down, still flashless in that mid lane. ABO able to follow up on either of his support or his jungle when they look to gank here. I expect Adam to go another death here. He might go 0-3 before his flash is back up again. Very well played from Supernova. That's going to secure them grubs. Yes, they do get traded out on the dragon, but it's going to give them that feats of warfare first. 3-0 at the moment.
Scary Jerry's just continuing to find these skill shots. Hub really starting to feel the range discrepancy of this matchup. like you called out from Draft, Shibby, a lot of parts of this Cupid roster needed to find early leads, early indexing into gold, but it just hasn't been that so far. Bio's been pretty quiet, waiting to get to that level 6, and now finally looking for a gank. It goes Breezy is a bit too far forward. Let's see how much sauce the Bard has, and as I say that, he eats a stun and immediately dies. So good play there coming out from BO3 to get some gold into that Lucian that we talked about that needs to start accelerating.
Yeah, and ooh, Dr. Calculus.
All right, Ultimate Chicken. There's the Dominus pop for Dr. Calculus. Royal is still holding on to that World Ender, and his flash will finally pop it near his turret, and now he's starting to hit the sweet spots and turning this straight with his cooldowns. But like we always call it with top laners, it's just Ultimate Chicken. Never really a kill to be found. Shockwave,
mid lane.
Adam, okay, but like you called out, the Orianna doesn't have as much juice as the Talia. Glacial Fisher towards the top side. Scary Jerry might have overstayed his welcome as well. Dardoch here to assuage any dive under that turret. Dardoch, Mr. Protector on the Pantheon. Make sure no more kills go over to Cupid for now.
Yeah, really good from Dardoch there to start going up to that top side. A bit of a misplay, I will say, from Scary Jerry to kind of get tagged by that Winter's Bite. But the fact that Dardoch's there, like you said, dissuades any dive. Bard's coming back as well. At least they know where Breezy is, so Adam can play a little bit more aggressive. You saw that Shockwave unloaded onto ABO, just trying to give him some space, right? Give him room to breathe after getting ganked 2 times now. Looks like Cupid Esports trying to stabilize, like you mentioned, that kill going into Lucian's favor as well. Gold, not too crazy, right? 1,500 at the 10.5-minute mark is doable for Cupid Esports. We did talk about them getting that engine going in the early game. They do still have that fallback with the Wukong and the Orianna. Fantastic scaling on their end in that regard. Also really good team fight potential if they can get, like we mentioned, the Cyclone into Shockwave combo onto key targets. Like I said, very short range top side for Supernova, right? The Aatrox, the Pantheon, and even the Talia to some extent. So if you can get that Wombo combo going, maybe chunk or even kill some of these guys prior to these fights, there's a world where Cupid does come back from this. But Supernova have just been playing very, very well, and I have to commend both Dardoch and Breezy there. Their movement around the map and their ability to just be where they need to be at the right times.
And that's, you know, in this new Tier 2 landscape of the ACL, is a real big differentiating for me is how you move on the map early game. This is what NACL teams are going to look like. This is even, I know Supernova is the top of the NACL, but I expect this type of map movement in the ACL from any of our North American Challenges League representatives, and that's what has shown up to this point. The real only discrepancy is that farm lead that Dr. Calculus has accrued in the top side, but it's only about 300 gold right now, and Royal will be able to have effect later on in the game on this Aatrox. Definitely gets a lot more value as the game goes on into this Renekton. Maybe he's showing the value already right now, though. Starting to get some control over that side of the lane as we have both of our junglers cruising towards this bot side with second Drake spawning soon.
Yeah, and Dardoch doesn't even care about being shown on vision. He's coming here simply to clear any sort of vision that Cupid Esports has down here. They want to secure this Mountain Dragon. They've got that lead in the bot lane, like you mentioned. Bio has just been kind of unable to participate in anything. And with first move going to ABO, with Talia being able to push Adam in, this Dragon should go in their favor. But it looks like Cupid Esports want to look for a fight here. A lot of abilities have been taken out.
Shibby, they're falling for the Bard fallacy. You can't ever jump on the Bard. That's never what you want to do. He is too slippery. But there's the Shockwave combo with the Cyclone, just like that. Bio pulls the trigger, and they've got the Essence Revolution here to just churn out the damage. Scary Jerry's already down. Royal's going to TP him with the World Ender, but they're only going to find a trade onto BO3. Problem is, Bio and Hub, they're running towards the wrong fountain right now. Can Supernova hunt down these kills? Because Royal is chasing Hub, and I don't think Execute Timer's anywhere near. Clutch teleport from the substitute for Supernova is going to rescue that fight because the Wombo from Cupid looked pristine.
Yeah, very good trigger pull from Cupid Esports there. Does kind of cost Royal a little bit more than maybe he'd like to. Some turret plates over into the favor of Dr. Calculus. So there's a CS lead, but realistically, that's going to swing them that favor for the Dragon. And that is a selfless top laner if I've ever seen it. I'm down 30 CS to this Renekton. I'm playing Aatrox. You know what? I'm going to TP down for this Dragon so that my team can get this, even if they get Wombo comboed. That's the best top laner ever. I love seeing Royal do that for his team because he realizes that play in of itself will jet set his team that much farther in gold, that much farther other in the objective trade, and realistically, his 20 to 30 CS deficit that he has against Renton can be made up later into the game. That is the map movement that we talked about. That's the selflessness that we talked about for some of these teams at that higher level that, you know, maybe we'll see, you know, some of these ACL teams don't really show all that often.
At least Cupid are showing some fight in this early to mid game that we really need to see from them with this Wukong comp. And it will get better, right? That fight, still kind of a loss. They lose the Dragon, as you called out. It ends up a 5v4. But they get 2 kills on their Lucian. That's huge. I think the bigger thing right now, though, for me, is that Bio has the Trendy Force completed, and you've got the first item done for this Orianna. Because no matter how much we talk about the Lucian, the Renekton in this combo, the entire catalyst of this comp is going to be that Wukong Orianna shockwave if they can look to find those angles. And now it's going to hurt a lot more than we saw in that last Drake fight.
Yeah, actually has a completed item ready to go. It did kind of feel a little bit underwhelming. The damage was still there. Like you said, Hub doing a good job following up with that Lucian, understanding his, you know, kind of a range of threat, I would argue. He's like, all right, well, they're all CC'd. I'm pretty sure I can get a burst down. I can kill somebody here. But realistically, Supernova still in a very comfortable position. Gold lead has moved a little bit. It was 1.5 last we talked about it. It's about 2,000 now. So Cupid Esports doing a good job keeping it relatively competitive as we flash towards the gold. Dr. Calculus, 500 gold above his counterpart. But the big thing here for me is just Dardoch, nearly 1,000 gold on his counterpart. And we talked about this matchup. Bio looking like one of the bright spots for that old Polestar roster, but you can never count out Dardoch. You can never look at this guy and say he is not a threat. He is not a good jungler. As ABO might be in some trouble.
Adam, good job dodging the flick back. He walks forward, baits it in with the phase rush, and has more than enough move speed to get the flash out of ABO. Love to see the Adam standing up, even though he got set back early, just like we felt like X-Royal got set back early into Dr. Calculus. Another game of Ultimate Chicken. As we always say, shouldn't be any kills threat, but Dr. Calculus slices and dices under the turret. Is there enough healing for Royal? No, the flash out. The Duckies showing up here. Former Duckies for Cupid Esports. Solo bolo to Dr. Cal.
Yeah, Royal getting set back to Algebra here. Dr. Calculus doing a good job kind of understanding his ability to kill. He's got the Black Cleaver, he's got Dominus, and if you look at Royal's items, he just now finished the Sundered Sky. He was sitting on components the whole time. That kill in the top lane might get them Herald, but I think the 4v5 for Supernova just might be enough to keep them there. Wow, Tempered Fate does go wide left here.
Good dodge. Well, this gets set up by either Bard ability. Now turns the Glacial Fissure back onto Dardoch. Defensive ultimate used there, and like you called out now, both supports going to be down and out with their critical ultimates, but it's Supernova that has the first track towards that Rift Herald. And they'll start it up with Dardoch as Scary Jerry gets a wave into the top side. Bio can take a decent amount of harass from ABO, gets his health bar knocked down to about half. Don't feel like Cupid are really ever in a position here to try and stop this Herald by this point.
Yeah, and one of their strongest members has already used their ultimate, right? Dominance in that top lane. Dr. Gal is not really ready to fight that. Sending X-Rail to this bottom lane to kind of deal with Adam. Essentially, the 2 weakest members of each team are matched up against each other in the laning aspect here on that bottom side. And Supernova's 4 is much stronger than Cupid Esports 4 at the moment here. But like you said, Hub could get to that point. He gets that 2-item power spike. Looks like he's building potentially towards that rapid fire cannon. There is a world where he's... Yeah, or maybe Flicker Blade as well. There's a world where he gets really strong in these team fights and he starts kind of dashing and moving around or in this dragon. If you can potentially pick that up prior to this Cloud Drake, we could be looking at a world where Cupid Esports takes the fight win, especially if they're able to land the Cyclone Shockwave combo that we saw them land in that second dragon during Mountain Dragon.
There's the Flicker Blade completed. I will say to, match up Scary Jerry on the other side, like to see him index into the Yomus to bring, just enough extra oomph in the early game. There's two sort of ideas of build path with Jhin right now. You can go Collector IE to try and scale up into a crit monster later game, and then you've got this rapid fire Yomus where you're, again, like you called out in the draft, trying to play a bit more facilitator in that mid-game stage. So Scary Jerry answering the call of the comp is asked of him with his own build path by this point. But the main thing to look for Cupid, again with that Wombo, need to see some more AP behind Adam at this point as we watch Boruto get jumped on by Dardoch, who's got more than enough health and damage. The curtain call coming out. You're going to see a final bow here for Boruto. No, he just uses his unsealed spellbook with the ghosts and gets away. So that's one ultimate off the table if a Drake fight breaks out.
Yeah, curtain call being used there, but Braum looking to actually stay. Burrito I'm surprised. These guys are half health. The bottom lane is half health right now. I actually don't think Cupid can take this.
Tempered Fate. They're going to look to go into Bio here. No, Dr. Calculus is actually targeting. Bio turns it around with a huge Cyclone. 4-man Shockwave. But Cupid, they just don't have enough juice behind their combo. It falls completely flat. The angle looked beautiful. The items looked ugly. And now Supernova can just turn and burn, surviving a 4-man Wombo.
That looked a lot cooler than what actually happened. The combo, like you said, coming in here. But they're not done. They're going to be diving past the tier 2 Slayer.
And Adam goes down. They've got the grubs behind them to threaten this tier 2 turret. It stings for Cupid Esports. The comp they drafted for that exact type of team fight falls flat and breaks this game open wide for Supernova.
Yeah, that's one of the better looks you're going to get. I believe he got the Cyclone Shockwave combo onto both ABO and Scary Jerry, and there just wasn't enough juice, like you mentioned. There wasn't enough damage coming in from either Hub or Calculus there to finish the job, and that's going to give Supernova all they need to take this dragon here. We might see another fight as both of these teams are posturing in here. Burrito kind of at this dragon first, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to take it, right? The vision will be cleared out. As we mentioned, Supernova looking very strong at the moment. ABO 1-0-6, 2 items completed here, as well as Scary Jerry. Like you mentioned, that more early game centric Jin build with the rapid fire plus Youmu's. The amount of burst that's happening both to Hub and Burrito, like there's nothing you can do about it. You're getting half health.
Calculus, Dominus popped again, but seems a little bit audacious this close to the tier 1 turret. And you can tell Royal feels that way as well, because he doesn't even burn his World Ender. So he's going to have ult advantage. He's waiting for Dominus to stick back down. Royal going to re-engage. Maybe went a little bit too early. Dr. Calculus is going to lose the ultimate speed buff. And Royal's going to try and chase him down, waiting for those sweet spots as both jockey for position. Mid lane, Hub's taking it to Scary Jerry. Knows he's got more than enough burst to burn through Scary Jerry. The last shots of the Coling going to knock down the Supernova to carry. Breezy doesn't hit double stun. Shockwave is only going to find the mark onto Breezy. Exhaust, Glacial Fissure all onto the Bard, but it works out for Cupid. Hub picks up another multi-kill.
Nice little double kill for themselves here. Scary Jerry and Breezy going down, and fortunately, my bad, I cast a cursed you. I said the amount of damage they're bringing in, how dominant they looked against the bottom lane here. Hub and Boruto doing a very good job, and that might be the swing here. Otacon, Slayer, I know you're familiar with this. The Otacon XP swing is massive, and it looks like SN are privy to this, but can they actually stop it with the 3? A Blaze Olive and Dardoch on the backside here. Royal as well, looking to come in right now. It's low.
Yeah, there's the Grand Starfall, though. Dardoch goes in. He's going to try to execute Bio. He pops a Cyclone, but he goes down. Down's the jungler for Cupid. They trade out Dardoch, though, too. So somebody else without Smite is going to have to secure this Otacon. Look at it. It's 1,000 HP as a Blaze Olive gets chased down with a Tempered Fate. Is clutch coming up for Breezy. It goes over to Adam, though. Cupid Esports get the Otacon, but can they get out? Breezy says no. Flashes forward with the empowered auto knockdown Adam. There's the stun from the Jin to come across, and they're going to just look to knock down one more Cupid member. Make the play a high toll for finding the Otacon.
The price of Otacon is that the rivers run red with Cupid's blood here, as Dr. Calculus, the only one to really make it out there. Very, very well played from both ends, I would say. Supernova doing a good job keeping Cupid on the line here, just for Scary Jerry and Breezy to come back and pick up a couple kills here. But ultimately, like you said, Cupid Esports comes away with the Otacon. They come away with the EXP swing, and that might bring them back into this game, as they are actually 3,000 gold behind. But the Otacon, like the XP and all that stuff, we don't really know how that's going to affect the actual gold lead here. As we take a flick to that gold, 8,700 to X Royal 76. But again, you look at the mid lane, you look at the jungle, they are just so far ahead, Dardoch and ABO against their counterparts. And Cupid Esports mid jungle is what's driving these fights. It's the catalyst for these fights, like you mentioned, Slayer. The Wukong Cyclone into Orianna Shockwave combo is what's gonna win them this game. But even when it's hit, it just hasn't had enough juice.
Just look at Adam's items right now. He's got a Seraph's, he's got a 0-stack Dark Seal, and he is soon to pick up a third item. And this looks like it's going to be Leandri's, which, again, is another item right now that a lot of mid laners are trying to get away from because it doesn't bring enough AP. And that's exactly what Adam needs at this current point to make sure that Cyclone has enough juice behind it for Bio. But I do want to commend Cupid because I think in a lot of spots, a lot of other ACL teams, when they looked at how far behind they fell in that mid lane fight, would kind of just turtle up and pray that they get a good angle into Supernova. No, they got aggressive and they're still fighting. As I say that, Boruto is just completely picked off. The Weaver's Wall is going to cut off his one exit, and Adam might come down too as ABO finds with the putback on the seismic shove. The caster curses are coming through in game one, Shibby, quickly.
Unfortunate. I mean, Boruto dying there, okay, fine. You're a support. You're trying to get vision down. Baron's coming up in about a minute. Adam dying there is a much bigger blunder, I think, right? Kind of ceding every sort of vision you have, any sort of, lane priority you can get. Top lane is now being pushed in, and everyone to catch that wave here. They might end up getting the tier 2 in that top side as well. So Supernova making a really good play here, especially a 2-for-1 bargain deal, right? They got Boruto and they got Adam for free. Top lane tier 2 is going to go down. There's a TP coming from Boruto, though.
What you know about my support TP flanking? That's just the world we're in with League of Legends right now. And well, I would say he picks the wrong path. I think he's trying to cut him off top side. Supernova are really wary. They don't exactly know where Boruto is, and now they're going to jump on him with Dardoch. TP's coming through. This is the Renekton. Can Cupid march up 5v4? No, they're making it a 4v4 as Boruto is just a little bit too early to the action, and the TP falls completely flat, and the rest of the play nowhere to be found.
Some wise words from before. That TP sucked. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, no.
Tempered Fate?
Yes. My bar gameplay. My Parisi setting up for a 2-man Tempered Fate in the Grand Starfall with a shockwave hits on the 3 members. But again, there's not enough damage for Adam. And look at Royal on the back line with a monster flank. Gets the first kill onto Bio. They sectioned off Dr. Calculus. So Royal holds on Cupid at bay as Dr. Calculus beats the chainsaw that is Supernova. Good cleanse out of Hub, but he just doesn't have enough range to capitalize on any of these low health bars. 3-0 in the fight for Supernova.
Oh, man, these shockwaves are so good. He's landing them multiple times. I don't think he's hit less than 3 people on a shockwave. It's just the fact that he doesn't have enough damage. He just doesn't have the itemization, and this Baron is going to be Supernova's. There's nothing that Hub or Boruto can really do about it. Supernova, it was relatively close between these two guys for a while, right? 1.5, 2,000 gold lead separated these two. Even after the Otacon, where it was a 3,000 gold lead for Supernova, you had hope that Cupid could do something, right? If Adam gets his items, if Hub can find the right angle, can find the damage, but Supernova just made play after play, pick after pick, and it feels like Cupid just never were able to stabilize it. It all started that chain reaction from Boruto dying around that Baron pit around the 24-minute mark. In 2.5 minutes, the game has flipped completely on its head. It's an 8,000 gold lead for Supernova, who are now looking to knock on the doors of the base.
This is a warning sign to the rest of the Aegis Champions League that not just this is the level of competition you have to play against, that's obvious, but the point I want to make here is that you need to be on your game with decision-making the entire time. We saw with the Otacon play, the Cupid, that was a really smart play after they got the kills mid lane. But you need to be on top of it the whole game. It's like the sports fallacy. This game's 4 quarters, right? There was only 1 quarter where we saw Cupid, really be on top of their playmaking. Outside of that, it's been pretty hard for them to find angles as Breezy does step too far forward. And that's a great pick with the concussive blows. Man, I need to start indexing Caster Curse into something monetary at this rate, because every team I talk good about right now, Jimmy, they just throw a lead.
I wonder if it works. If you start talking negatively about yourself, does the inverse happen? I won't win the lottery. There's no way this parlay is gonna hit, and then you just do it, and then there you go. Maybe we can channel some of that dark energy. But right now, Supernova still very comfortably in the lead. X-Royal, like you said, stepping a little too far forward. Dr. Calculus has popped the Dominus.
Oh, he wants Scary Jerry, but unfortunately, he needs a snare to the face. Scary Jerry is gliding around a Dominus Renekton, but unfortunately, he's met the hands. They're known as Hub. Shutdown coming across. Double stun onto the backline from Dr. Calculus. Gets Dardoch picked off. Now Parisi's far too low, and ABO, good flash, good Tempered Fate, buying more space. This Talia really hurts, especially with these slippery stones. But again, it's Cupid finding more picks, and now they can shut down another win con here for Supernova. We have our second Infernal or Cloud Drake spawning on the bot side that could be taken for free.
Yeah, The dragon stacking hasn't been too ideal from either of these sides. I'm going to blame it on Cloud Dragon and the fact that a lot of people just don't care about it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's going to be something that Cupid Esports can pick up. I think the bigger thing is that the amount of gold that they're about to pick up on the map, right? Just the fact that they got some shutdowns in their favor. It looks like they're going to pick up mid lane tier 1 as well. Royal, that's not your turn to defend, buddy. It's fine.
that's again, Adam, these shockwaves are so smart. Every one of them has been smart. Problem is he's 0-7. It's painful to watch because he's making the right decisions with these shockwaves. But, you know, he still has more time. I'm now realizing the last time we talked about his items, they were the same as they are now. So I'm really hoping after he clears out this top wave, we get a second item under his belt. I would assume so, but Cupid really need it.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got 25k. Yeah, so that's gonna be
he'll
big,
be
though.
fine. Yeah, he just hasn't been a part of a lot of these fights in terms of like the picks that have been happening, and even then, none of the kills have gone to his favor. He's a support Orianna to the max. Like, he's 0-7-7, unfortunately. If he picked up either like 1 or even 2 of those kills, the goal would be a lot more even between ABO and himself. But unfortunately, ABO is already working towards that 4th item. He's got the Void Staff, got the Rylays, and he hits really hard. Like, it is actually very dangerous to try to chase into Supernova. It's tough for Cupid because they just want to keep the ball rolling, right? They want to keep the momentum going. The amount of dashes that Hub has available to himself with that Navori plus IE, right? He's got 4 items with Essence Reaver and LDR. Like, this guy is an absolute monster, but he can't just chase mindlessly and endlessly as they are looking for Scary Jerry.
Wow, a rare complete disrespect from Scary Jerry there. No tier 1 turret to cover you, brother. You cannot sit in that mid lane. It does get the Cyclone and Flash out of Bio, but Cupid, again, relentless. They don't care that they're going up against the best of the best right now in the NACL. They know they're just playing from behind, and they have to keep looking for avenues to shrink this gold lead, shrink this deficit.
Yeah, that playmaking potential, right? As long as Bio has Flash or has a clone available. Adam? Should be okay.
Oh, Seraph's shield. Shockwave does catch Breezy with Hub there. They do have enough damage. Look at Dr. Cactus as well. Jumps on Dardock on the top side. Supernova are starting to collapse in on themselves as they give up over kill and kill. GA is up here for Dardock. The Weaver's Wall is going to cut off 3 members on one side, but there's more than enough range for him to pick up that kill. Sideways shove, flicks back on a 2 for ABO as Royal trying to hold the line with the World Ender. Dr. Cactus very low, but look at Baruto's shield blocking off all that damage. He's going to pay the price of the toll from his top laner, but the curtain call shot from Scary Jerry gets him his revenge.
Cupid Esports, they make a good play and they just try to bite off more than they can chew. If they just backed off after the Weaver's Wall, they're out of there, right? They don't give that gold back. They don't give a kill or 2 back to Supernova. And that is the difference maker, right? Cupid Esports make a good play and they just keep going and going. They use their turn. They try to extend it. Supernova fighting back here, but it's a lot closer than we talk about, right? That Otacon, the intangibles that Supernova have been able to pick up here, that's what we're talking about. Because that 5,000 gold lead, it's very deceptive. You would expect Supernova to have a much stronger grip on this game, but a couple mistakes here and there, a couple of their players getting caught out in the mid lane, in the top side, and really good creative use of their champions here on Cupid Esports side has allowed them to claw themselves back into this game. And Adam, you mentioned his items. Brother is working on Death Cap. He's close to 3 items. And those Shockwave Cyclone combos are going to start hitting like a 2-ton truck.
Oh, my brother, I know we're an 80 carry player and we think every mid lane wave is ours post 20 minutes, but please give the gold to Adam right now. You are 4 items. You need Adam's Death Cap to come through before this next fight comes across. And yeah, 700 gold is not going to cut it. They need to get him that gold before the Baron take happens. Flash away from the Tempered Fate. Royal, though, is caught on the bottom side of this fight. Bio's going to try and chase him down as they TP Dr. Calculus in. And it's classic NA fashion. I missed this. It's the NA Ram. Everyone's just standing mid lane trying to jockey for wave position.
Yeah, and right now, Supernova's wave's looking mighty fine now. Top lane pushing in, bottom lane, I think, is going to push in for their favor. I actually don't think Dr. Cactus actually got that in or got it into that +1 wave state. So they're going to be allowed to recall here without too much punishment. Unfortunately, Cupid cannot start this Baron with impunity. Like, they kind of have to be careful because if they get into that Baron pit, that fish in a barrel situation, Dardock and ABO can collapse. Brother, you got to be careful.
All right, the back from Scary Jerry gets him IE, by the way. So I know we talked about how early a damage index he is. IE means this Jhin actually scales wonderfully. Weaver's Wall down from ABO. Deadly Flourish not going to find a snare from Scary Jerry. And that will stop the Baron call. So, a good play there. The Cyclone and the Shockwave this time finally misses from Bio and Adam. Let's see how much Supernova want to try and punish this. Curtain call, not going to find any really low health targets. Dardoch down to about half HP, but now Cupid, they don't look as scary holding this line towards the top river because they don't have their main Wombo combo. The Temper Fate comes back up for Breezy, and this time Adam can't flash out of it. Breezy putting Adam on a silver platter for ABO, but look at Dark Calculus flashing right on top of Breezy. Kills him off first to start the fight. Deadly Flourish lands. Seismic Shove flick back onto 2, but it's the front line that takes a lot of the damage. Dark Calculus slices, dices, cuts down Dardoch once again. Hub trying to step up to push more damage out. It's the 80 carries that really need to sing for both of these fights, but look at ABO gliding around the fight. Flick back on to Hub as well. Doesn't have mana, no problem. Scary Jerry's got the juice. Crit shots home Hub to give the edge to Supernova in a narrow fight.
When the carries for Supernova absolutely glide through that fight. Jerry and ABO, the saviors for Supernova. It looked like Cupid were going to bring it back. Dr. Calculus looked mighty unkillable, but ABO and Jerry tag team up for Supernova, and they're able to pick up the kills. They're going to pick up their second Baron here. Maybe this will be the Baron that breaks Cupid's back. Wait a minute.
He's got Shockwave. Bio has Cyclone. Can they
Dardoch is not here?
Towards the pit. Yep, no Dardoch as well. Breezy doing a good job with ABO, holding Dr. Calculus in place. He's down to about 50% HP. Does have his own Dominus.
Just keep it. Just
Flash
keep it.
is available for Bio. He can Trickster over the wall and flash out. They don't even need to go for the Wombo. Does Bio have the heroics in him to go for this steal? He's looking for it. There he goes in. No, not secured. Scary Jerry gets the Baron, and now the Deadly Flourish lands on a Calculus. Dominus will not save him. That health bar is not high enough for the damage Scary Jerry puts up as he goes unstoppable. Way too close of a 50-50, but luckily, Supernova have enough.
Jerry secured it, by the way. It was Bio's smite. Dardoch, I don't even think he smited. He still has that cooldown there. Scary Jerry's fourth shot securing the Baron for Supernova there. Risky, like you mentioned. Hub has picked up Guardian Angel. He's full build right now for Cupid Esports. Might be the difference maker. He definitely hurts, but like we mentioned, can he actually get into the fight with ABO and Jerry just so long range, right? Scary Jerry specifically with the rapid fire cannon plus that fourth shot move speed. It's so hard to jump onto him. It's Bio and Adam's job to try to get onto him, to use the invisibility plus Flash Cyclone into the Shockwave to get them low enough. Rudo doing a good job blocking a lot of this damage with that shield. His early game was a little bit rough, his mid game as well, but so far has been denying a lot of the burst that Scary Jerry is able to put out with this Jhin.
In lane, turret goes down. I like this split from Supernova. Again, perfect way to neuter this Wombo combo fight style from Cupid is spread them out, but you have to be really careful about your assignments as Breezy does use the Mikhails to get a speed up, and the Weaver's Wall out from ABO. Level 18, though, that should come back up pretty soon, but good job here from Cupid not to give up an inhibitor on that Baron play. I think Supernova are kind of forced to stop this assault onto the base, Shibby. Baron not going to last much longer, and they'd much rather get on Cloud's soul point. So again, Cupid doing a good job keeping this game closer than the gold really signals.
Yeah, it's kind of tough trying to funnel into that mid lane as well. Like, you could try to brute force it and just overpower that middle inhibitor, but the fact that Bio and Adam have been kind of, you know, pretty much on point with the Cyclone Shockwave, other than that one time we saw where Scary Jerry did have to flash it, it is a little risky for Supernova. So like you said, they're forcing Cupid to spread their wings and to spread across the map here. That actually works in Supernova's favor, where they can kind of pick and choose where they attack. Bio, though, waiting in the wings here. Potentially his bottom lane might be the fight that they're looking for. And again, Dragon, they're not willing to push it to Soul Point. This actually might be a tactical choice by Supernova. That's to not pinch it closer to Elder.
That's not tactical from Dr. Calculus. Gets tagged, does pop the Dominus. Shield comes up here for Bruno. The Shockwave hits onto both Breezy and a Blaze Olive. But there's no Bio Cyclone. And bye-bye goes the front line from Cupid. Front to back, the way for a win. Until Dardoch says, I'm flanking under the inhibitor turrets to end this game. Adam down, GA means squat here for Hub. Ace over to Supernova, who are in control all game long to take a 1-0 series lead.
A little bit of wobbly, a little rickety there from Supernova, but all in all, they were pretty much in the driver's seat. 77,000 gold, 31-17. A very interesting game from Cupid Esports there. It looked like they had a couple chances to make it back in. They had some good looks, but they just fell short pretty consistently. And Supernova coming out on top, like you mentioned, 1-0 for them so far, putting themselves on match point as this is a best of 3. And mind you, it's fearless, so neither of these champions are available to these guys. The Wombo combo that Cupid would rely on, they've got to find it somewhere else.
Luckily for Cupid, they don't have to worry about an ABO Talia anymore either, because he goes deathless in this game, 3-0 and 18 on the Talia. You mentioned it a couple times during the game with the how dash-oriented Cupid's comp, and maybe something that we overlooked in the draft. Talia was just such a perfect counter for this comp that Cupid put together, and well, ABO, definitely my MVP because of how much he exploited that, even when those fights got pretty close, Shibby.
Yeah, I think ABO is just really, really good, right? I mean, the way he played the fights, the way he worked with his both jungler and his support to kind of get those kills into his pocket. I mean, he was kind of spoon-fed a little bit of those kills, but
Yeah.
it's kind of what you do with the gold, right? I've seen plenty of mid
Exactly.
laners, even at the highest levels, get spoon-fed a ton of gold, and they're just unable to carry their team. They're unable to really do anything with it. ABO always felt like a force to be reckoned with, and the fact that you mentioned that you can't really chase into them because ABO is almost always alive. He was doing a really good job protecting his life. The fact that you couldn't chase as Cupid Esports composition means you couldn't keep the ball rolling. It means you couldn't kind of get that dominant 5-0 ace or that 4-1 kind of, kill threat that you wanted so that you can go take the Baron, so you go take the objective, right? They got the Otacon off of a double kill. That was the best look they were going to get, and unfortunately, it just wasn't enough.
Again, though, do want to stress before we start talking about game 2 and set ourselves up for a break coming in here that I still think there's a lot of good things to take away from this single game for Cupid. You will see a lot of ACL matchups with other teams that will fall down early against Supernova and really just never look to be proactive from there on out. Maybe they're scared, maybe they just don't really know what to do. Cupid, again, a team that has some NACL guys that are looking to show they can compete in tier 2 again at the highest level. I thought it was impressive how they took advantage of the small windows they were able to get, even if they were behind.
Yeah. Ease of execution was definitely on their side, right? Like it was always like, well,
True.
we have Cyclone, Shockwave available. If you can land this, there's a world where Hub, with his massive item lead, with this Lucian, can get things going. And there were moments where he did that, right? Hub was definitely putting out quite a bit of damage there. Like I said, it just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough juice, like you mentioned. I think that's the best word to use, right? There just wasn't enough juice in that mid jungle wombo combo to get them over the hump. If they were maybe not like maybe 4,000 gold behind or maybe 3,000 gold behind at that moment, we're talking a different game. But Supernova just went way too far ahead. By that second Baron, it was over. Good looks from Cupid, though, like you mentioned. A lot of teams would rather roll over and die than look for
Yeah.
those kind of picks that you mentioned or look for those plays, right? And maybe over investing a lot of their resources, but still trying to get those advantages across the map here. So we could be in for a 3-game series if Cupid are able to claw back with a much better composition and with a much less of a larger gold lead from Supernova.
Should be said, it might look like a whole different game in game 1. If a couple things went different ways for Cupid, well, we will be talking a whole different game. Game 2, to be specific, we'll be back with that game 2 draft after a break to see if Cupid can stop Supernova from a 2-0 sweep. See you shortly after. Welcome back, everybody, to the Salt Mines official coverage of the Aegis Champions League GSL stage, Week 2. Gotta love those long titles. It was a long, drawn-out game 1, thanks to the fact Cupid were doing a pretty solid job battling back of the might from the might of Supernova, aka the best team in the North American Challengers League right now. But a loss was still a loss, and Cupid are now on the back burner, trying to keep this series afloat. And Chibi, interestingly enough, before we go into Game 2 draft, what do you make of them wanting to stay red side? I feel like blue side is kind of king still, so I'm a little bit shocked, I would say.
I think they're just valuing the 1-2, right? Like we saw them kind of use it to their advantage a little bit in that last draft where they were, they gave over first pick. They're like, you take whatever you want. We'll take Wukong Lucian. We'll just take that over. They also value that red side counter pick potentially, which I will say I kind of worked in their favor. I guess like they did look a lot better. Like they did have lanes where they looked like they could kind of make things work here. I think if you don't have a big B1 that you're willing to kind of lock in here, you don't have something that you're willing to really lock in that's mega OP, I think red side can work in your favor, especially if you have that counter pick available and you really value the R1, R2 there and you're locking in something pretty strong, which Wukong Lucian is not bad. I don't think it's a terrible R1, R2.
We'll have to see where that R1, R2 goes for Cupid here on that red side, though. Also think getting Calculus a favorable lane is a big prio for Cupid, so you always have R5 if you can go for that if you want. You didn't have to use it last time with Royal blinding that Aatrox. I still think that was such a fun little tidbit. We'll see where Bach and Royal want to be at as he continues as the sub here for Supernova in their Week 2 matchup. In the Game 2 draft as well. Rumble ban from Supernova. So already telling where they want to go with this B1 pick, because if we're talking the most proverbial B1s, Rumble is definitely one of them.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to give that over without paying the price, unfortunately. It looks like bans are probably going to stay the same. Classic Fearless. I've heard a lot of people saying like, oh, this is just Classic Fearless, the same bans through 3 games and 5 games. People are already memeing Fearless here, but I have been enjoying it. I do like the fact that we still get that champion variety. I've already heard rumblings of like Iron Man Fearless, which is like you don't get to play it at all. We're getting too deep.
Yeah,
in the
don't take it
weeds.
too far, guys.
Like a little bit of crazy is fine. A lot of crazy, not too much. But I have been liking the fact that teams have been kind of switching it up in the ban phases sometimes, right, as we get into later games. Best of 3, we won't really see it, but in best of 5 matchups, you'll definitely see some of these teams start playing around with the Fearless draft here. Is no Jax available for Mr. Cackless. They're going to try to give Royal the best matchup into Dr. Cackless here, as I think they've identified that, he is going to be one of the ones that has an advantage state into Royal, right? Shout out to Bach for giving his substitute some time here with the main roster and specifically in ACL. I mean, I know we view ACL as like a less important tournament than ACL, but there's still money on the line. Like Supernova want to win. Like it's not that they want to lose here. So the fact that Bach is willing to take this risk and give one of his subs some game time here and allowing him to play, I think is amazing. A really good usage of your substitute.
If you've been living in a fairy tale land, I do have news to break to you. Money is not easy to come by in developmental League of Legends. So yeah, get your bread wherever you can get it. And also, even if the ACL isn't the NACL, it's not this. It's not like NACL, ACL. It's this now. I mean, it's just like right below. So it's the next best.
It's literally one letter apart, right?
Yeah, one letter apart and like one level apart in the tier 2 ecosystem by this point. So got to give more props to Riot for backing the ACL as an official tournament, as we will officially get that B1 pick coming out from Supernova. The Azir ban switches to the red side now for Cupid, as the Yone comes up here for Supernova. So those are the 2 little changes to the bans, as everyone called Alex to meme the Fearless format for keeping its bans. But what does Supernova want to do with a B1 here? Still a lot of really good junglers, but they're going to go with the Aurora, which does have a little bit of flexibility, and I believe X-Royal does have the Aurora top in his bag, so keep that one in mind.
Yeah, and it was banned out by Supernova last round, or last game here, round 2, trying to really limit what Adam can play in this mid lane here. It looks like the Azir is going to be banned away by Cupid this time around because they don't really have the ability to pair it up with that Wukong. Will be interesting to see, like you said, that R1, R2 from Cupid Esports. What's available to them? Do they just lock in their mid lane? Do they take a Syndra? Do they going to take a Nico for themselves? They're going to give that over to Boruto. Mind you, they removed that away from Breezy last time around. They removed the Rakan away as well, but they're going to lock in this playmaking potential. I love this, right? Now they just got to follow it up with something even more deadly. Are they going to put a Kalista with it? Are we going to see Hub on Kalista so they can run that Kalista Nico combination? Are they going to run something a little bit more aggressive? I really need to see a primary engage follow-up here. Instead, they're going to lock in the Rise. Okay, that's a bit of a scaling pick. We've been seeing that a lot, I think, in the LCK specifically.
Yeah, Rise is king over there. You want to know why? Because the LCK is allergic to kills pre-20, and who benefits the most from that? Rise, champion that just wants to farm until he's level 16. So yeah, we'll see how Adam fits into that sort of archetype we make out for this mid lane champion. But it's another Adam selection that I think can be pretty heavily punished in the early phase, especially if this Aurora goes mid. Once ults come online, I don't even care what Dardoch picks. Between Worlds is going to be a big threat, but Supernova are going to match the scaling for scaling battle here, Shibby. The Sivir, which is the new hot ticket, even at that tier 1 level as we continue to talk about it. Sivir has been on a meteoric rise.
I absolutely hate this champion. Not because I think it's bad or anything like that.
It's boring.
It's so boring. It's like
so boring.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna on the hunt, and I'm just gonna yell, and my team's gonna like at mock speed. Like it is actually kind of scary if you're Cupid Esports, especially because Rise is a bit short range. Like by the time he could get his realm warp down, Supernova is gonna be on him, right? It's not gonna have enough time to actually realm warp away here. Now that you've coupled that up with the Rakan, that mind you was banned away from Breezy last time around, a mock speed Rakan is. Whoa, let me.
Is this? All right.
I've been away. Is that the new? Is that Yunara? Like
Yunara is on the Rift in the ACL. I don't. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. This might be one of the first Yunara lock-ins because I believe Yunara might have been disabled the first week of ACL. I know there's a buffer between champion releases and how quickly you can play them. I'll say this is a fact. First Yunara I'm going to cast, first Yunara Shibby's going to cast. So that is the sauce that Hub's trying to bring on out here. Shibby, what, is there any little things you can let the people know about what you expect from Yunara? I just don't want to throw you under the bus, but.
You know what? I've casted so much Yunara today. No,
you're locked in.
Yeah, I've casted so, I'm just joking here. I do know that she's got a pretty popular on-hit build that actually just scale kind of similarly to Sivir in the sense of like, hey, I'm just going to be this giant late-game monster, Kraken Slayer, I believe, into what is the Runans, and then IE. I think that's like kind of the 3-item core. I know she does a ton of damage at 3 items. Like, it is absolutely disgusting the amount of damage she can put out as long as she's like rotating some of her abilities correctly. She kind of reminds me of a less complicated Aphelios, where like she has the ability to like kind of like morph into and change into like these different not forms necessarily, but like how she uses her abilities. I think there's a little bit of that, like getting into that transcendent state, trying to figure out what you're gonna do there, and really maximizing your cooldown usage. Look, I'm not gonna front, like I haven't seen her in competitive play, but from what I've seen like in highlights and stuff like that, she is very important to like maximize her ascended state, I believe.
Yeah, the transcending. Yeah,
the transcendent.
I like to think of her as like I think Aphelios is a good call. The way I've described it is it's Aphelios and Zeri mixed is the way I look at it. Because the ult feels very Zeri inspired. The build path feels very Zeri inspired. The scaling feels very Zeri inspired as well. So, all right, we'll see what Hub gets to bring out. Unfortunately, the new champion flying our way. We've been a bit distracted from how this draft progressed. We saw a ton of jungle and top lane focus from our bans, and somehow Xin Zhao sneaks through to R4. You don't rarely see that at all, so that's a big pickup here for Bio. And as we predicted, Chibi, they're going to leave counter to Dr. Calculus as they look to use him to, I hope, carry and more importantly, bridge the gap for this scale comp with the Yunara and Rise.
Yeah, I mean, Nico Xin Zhao is definitely a very good 1-2 combo.
Is that a Dardoch Viego?
Viego Aurora. That is absolutely scary because Aurora creates the arena and Viego just absolutely slaughters you inside it in his Coliseum. So this could be a very just deadly, like you said, 1-2 punch coming out from Supernova, especially into what is that short range mid laner in Rise. Now they have to round this out with whatever top lane pick they want to. It's actually going to be a top lane Yunara. It's going to be mid lane Annie, and Annie has been seeing a lot of play.
Yep, Annie's another one of those meteoric rises in the meta. And yeah, so expect this to be a grass top Aurora that is really annoying for a lot of top lane matchups. So I think Bach is really
cooked. Do we go Gragas?
Gragas, it's just, I'm trying to think like what lanes can even punish Aurora. I also just think Aurora needs to be like tuned. I think her passive is disgustingly broken. So
it's still disgustingly broken.
It's so disgusting. So what does Calculus want to do? He has a plethora of champions. Don't count out the Gangplank just full index into scale. I'll say that. They won't have a front line.
No!
Yeah, they need a front line. They need a front line. So
Meatball.
That's probably the most broken champion in the top lane, by the way. I would still say. Sion is so gross.
Yeah, Fiji Zone is super happy right now seeing
Yeah.
he's watching, he's like, yeah, Sion is that's not a bad pick. I like you mentioned kind of the bridge into what they need. Realistically, Cupid Esports has the proper lanes to play into. I think Bio can definitely do some work in this bottom lane, especially with that Nico coming in. Yunara, very interesting champion, like we mentioned, has that kind of same scaling ability that Sivir has, but she just has a lot more front-loaded damage at times, where if you land the Pop Blossom, if you land the Tangle Barbs, right, you can get a lot of damage coming in from this bottom side. Supernova does just have a free scaling top side. Like, like X Royal, you're subbed in, you've got to go against Dr. Calculus, who has looked like a damn good tier 2 top laner, if not on the verge of tier 2. Good luck, buddy. It's like, oh, I get Aurora into Sion. Like, I'm chilling. Like, I'm farming up, and I'm just going to make plays for the rest of my team when the team fights come in. ABO on more of a facilitator as well. This is definitely a Dardoch-centric composition here, especially with Scary Jerry on the Sivir here, has now locked in 2 utility champions. Last game with the Jhin, and now with the Sivir.
Again, I want to give credit to Bach here, who I think is such a huge mind to have in the tier 2
guy
for NA. Is a great guy. By the way, he's in tier 2 NA and EU like at the same time. It's awesome. He competes in EMEA and then also at ACL. Enough Bach lays here for now. The point I want to make here is that when you pick Viego for your jungler, obviously it's scaling, obviously it's team fighting later that you rely on, but to get to that point, you need to give him early access to aggressive invade spots or just be able to farm. And that comes in from pushing lanes. And top and mid are going to be constantly shoving. ABO and X-Royal are going to constantly shove. So look to Dardoch to just really play for grubs, play to maybe even invade this Xin Zhao and to try and take camps away. It's a great sort of early game draft for this Viego coming across for Supernova.
Yeah, this is the Milky Way comp, right? Supernova just took a book out of FBX and just went, you know what? Let me give this guy an Annie in the mid lane. Dardoch, go on Viego, and we'll do here. Cupid Esports, though, rocking the Yunara, busting that out into their second game against Supernova. There is something to be mentioned. Like, I don't think Supernova knows how to play against this champion. Like, they might just be confused as hell. Like, wait, when is she weak? Like, what happens when she goes into her ultimate? Can I even fight her? Like, I don't know. Like, there is some of that kind of champion, I would argue, no lack of knowledge, right? There's a bit of a knowledge gap for Supernova here, potentially. Maybe Scary Jerry, one of the few people I think might actually know how to play against Yunara, because that guy just plays a ton of solo queue. He spams so much solo queue. So we'll see if Supernova actually can match up against Cupid Esports here. I kind of like what they're cooking, but like you said, Bach has cooked something absolutely diabolical with this Aurora Annie Viego topside.
The Yunara point, I'm trying to rack my brain. I think last night, or I guess this morning on normal people in North America time, we got the first Yunara, or maybe the first Yunara win, something like that. So yeah, again, don't crap on us too hard, guys. From a competitive standpoint, even at the highest of levels, Yunara is barely just starting to be played and figured out. But I do think it's gonna be fun, like, to talk about the champion archetypes. That's always what's fun when new champions come, is like, who are they a mix of? Because as creative as Riot wants to get, it's very hard now to push a new champion that does not have roots in other champions. We don't get. It's gonna be very. I'm gonna be hard pressed to ever see Riot put a champion together that takes over the like opens the game up to new styles more than like when Jhin came out. Like when Jhin came around, like Jhin was very different than champions we've ever seen. I guess you could kind of say that with Aurora. Maybe would be the last one that I feel like was uniquely new. Compared to, and it doesn't really fit molds that other champions we've seen from in the past. So we'll have to see. I don't know if we got where the game is ready to get in here just yet. Yeah, so game's good to go. We've got through spectator delay. Here we go. Yunara on stage here in the ACL. Hub piloting it, looking to try and save Cupid from their first sweep loss of the ACL split.
Yeah, and we have been seeing a lot of Yunara players that are opting for Barrier or Ghost. That's kind of been like the running thing here. It's kind of like reminds you of Nyla, where you'd run Ghost with her and you would just try to like get in and get out and just do a ton of damage here. Yeah, there hasn't been too much played. I think it's like 14 games. Let me look right now. I can just pull up the statistics. It's been played 14 times across like multiple different leagues in like LCKCL and Tier 1. It's got a 28% win rate at the moment. So even though people have been picking up Yunara, it has not been that successful.
Just like this early invade from Dardoch hasn't been too successful. It takes a bit of a chunk of damage. Don't know how much we want to fight level 1 for either one of these comps. Guys, we've got Viego, Ryze, and an Annie, so we can calm that one down. Bio takes the most brunt of the damage and does not have enough time to reset, so he'll be a little bit lower HP on his clear. And welcome to your hell, Dr. Calculus.
that is like 9th dimension level of hell, right, bro? It's torment. Like, no, you don't actually have to walk over coals. You have to play Aurora versus Sion as Sion for the rest of your life. It's an endless laning. That's an endless top laning experience. Like the game never ends. You just have to perma lane phase. Every time it is 15 minutes, you go back. Oh god.
I'd have to ask Fiji. Would Fiji, the Sion truther, would he like that? I guess it depends on how much pain he likes too. But that's true. A question for another done. Because these bottom lanes are not acting like this is a scale lane, by the way. We're just slugging it. Supports are autoing each other. AD carries are autoing each other. Hub's got a lot of those balls stacked up. That's the Yunara passive. If you're looking to get educated on this champion, we can throw all those out. As the flash root comes across on a Scary Jerry. Not enough damage, though, to get the kill over. Does burn both summoners from Scary Jerry. The Q going to go wide. Knockup going to land, though, for Breezy. Can he get enough autos down? Yes. It's got to Breezy to secure the kill as Hub can't find the trade. The flash back under the turret. All right, Hub gets one back. Yunara on the board.
Oh, both of these AD carries living with a sliver of health right now, but Hub is going to be able to push this in and get that first back. Adam struggling a little bit into this Annie. Annie has a massive range advantage into Ryze, by the way. And anytime Ryze wants to look to do anything, there's a stun probably waiting in ABO's pocket here, especially because he's gone into that electrocute. Ryze has to be a little bit careful, right? Adam's got to be kind of watching what he's doing because Dardoch could be waiting in the wings here. A nice little look from Boruto there. Not really able to do too much, not able to disguise as a minion or anything like that. But I do like the idea of just heading mid. Yeah, I got the flash out. Like, I'll take it.
These are both immobile. Like, as much as we talk about Adam, who got punished in game 1 as an immobile control mage, the same goes for ABO. It's just he's been much better about protecting himself in those spots with the flash down. So Adam in a rare spot to have that advantage is. I'm so sorry, Dr. Calculus. this is just gonna suck the entire game.
This is what we saved red side counterpick for? Like, no offense, Cupid. Like, like,
oh, man.
did you just get bot gapped, bro? Like, like, is that what just happened? Like, Annie gets locked in. It's like, oh man, listen, this Aurora's not going mid anymore. Like, now Dr. Calculus has to suffer with Sion into Aurora. Like, hopefully we can keep the deaths to a minimum. Like, maybe this is the only kill that Royal gets. Yeah, I would lane swap. I would.
Yeah, this is the power of the Sion. Like, no matter what the Sion's matchup is, even if he has like a fine matchup into a tank, this is why you always want to make this swap, because he is the least resource intensive champion in the game, not named support. So Dr. Calculus, he's completely frozen out of his wave. It's not going to be too much of a detriment for him to fall behind. It will be a detriment if he dies, but Scary Jerry doesn't have enough to get the kill over just yet. This is going to slow down Royal on the top side and give Hub more time to scale up on his own as well with the lone kill for Cupid Esports.
Yeah, I think the thing that we really touch on is the fact that Bio is onus is to make plays here, right, on this Zinzao. If both of these junglers, both Dardoch and Bio, just go about their days just farming it up. Like Dardoch is completely happy with that, right? Viego's gonna farm to level 6. He's gonna come to these skirmishes, hit an ultimate, get a takeover, and start running through these fights here. Bio's gotta make things happen on this Zinzao, and he can't make it happen for Dr. Cactus. He's got to do something for this Yunara Nico lane that is now put up into this top lane into Royal. Like they've got to get a dive going, they've got to chunk Royal out, or to pick up some objectives because this Viego is going to become a menace later into the game, especially with all the setup that he has with both Annie and Aurora. Like it's not going to be a matter of if he gets a kill; it's a matter of when.
Yeah, exactly. Is invading into Bio's bot side jungle. Oh, because they're gonna dive Calculus.
Yep.
Guys,
he's low enough.
Come on, man. Leave him. Leave him alone. Oh yeah, Dark Guy is gonna die again. All right, let's see who picks this kill up.
Suffer.
1v3, and yeah, doesn't even get the knockup. That is Feats of Warfare for Supernova, and a kill onto another scaling threat for Supernova as well. Dardoch grabs that one, and in Dardoch fashion, he hasn't given any crumbs back to Bio on the other side. Stun's going to come down from ABO, but the flash forward gets the Rune Prism lockup. Can they get the knockup onto the flashless ABO? Yes, they can, and Bio does have a response, but Tibbers is angry, and Tibbers is going to trade the kill back out for ABO.
There we go. You're never fighting just Annie. It's a 2v2 at minimum here as Tibbers picks up the kill onto Adam. That's tough luck for him. Could not get that phase rush going, and yeah, I mean, I heard Dante's Inferno was based off of Dr. Calculus's time as Scion into Aurora in this match. It's tough, man. He's 0-2 right now. He hit level 6, so he does have. He did get a plate as well. But Supernova are making the most of this, right? Forcing that lane swap, like you mentioned, chunking him down low enough. I was like, oh, Scary Jerry and Breezy got a really good chunk. Like, Dardoch could just run up here and pick up the dive. Bio did shade there initially to try to cover the dive. You saw him wait in that Gromp bush a little bit, but I just didn't expect, I think, Dardoch to run from his top side all the way across to a quadrantless jungle just for that dive there, which actually really puts Supernova nice in the head there. Right now, Scary Jerry on the Sivir. We talked about it being a Borean champion. This guy is 62 CS to Yunara's 47. He's got a pickaxe in hand. He's doing everything he needs to do on this utility-based AD carry to eventually scale up into the monster that we know he can become.
Should be illegal for there to be more than 2 Coles in a game of League of Legends, because it's going to be so slow. What you know about ex-Royal Cole Aurora? Yeah, that's where he's at. Unfortunately, buddy, it's not his base because you are, again, in the 1v2 where it is not easy to get access to your wave right now. But he is doing a good job powering along through it, just like Scary Jerry, as you called out, who is already halfway through his Cole by this point. Hopefully we see some playmaking start to step up a bit on both sides as the ultimates are online. We saw ABO use that Tibbers earlier on. That's the main playmaker in the mid game here for Supernova. On the other side, let's get Boruto over to level 6 so we can start seeing those pop blossoms with Dragon and Grubs all up for the taking.
Ooh, and they're going to actually shift over to this top side here. I think they're going to prioritize the Grubs here. And I love that call, especially if you got Scion and Ryze as your side laners. Like, getting Grubs in your hands allows you that side lane advantage, forces the composition of Supernova to actually respond where they probably would more likely like to skirmish. They'd like to go for the 4v4s, set up those team fights with Dardoch and a Blaze Olive, who does have the Flash Pop Blossom available.
Some onto 3. Breezy, though. Rakan very slippery. Tippers turn back onto 2. ABO has an answer, but not enough damage alongside Viego, and that was a wacky flash from Dardoch. He basically ults in place between World, though. X-World does swing on over with Scary Jerry, who gets those bouncing blades, bouncing across all the members, but it doesn't matter because the flash forward from Bio gets X-World knocked off, and here comes the flank onto Scary Jerry. It's only Adam gets the root through the spell shield as Bio is chasing Breezy down, picks himself up the double kill. Decimating Smash lands onto Scary Jerry as well. Does Dr. Calculus have enough in the tank to find this kill? No, but it's still a huge win for Cupid, who turned that fight on a dime.
I think that was a 3-for-1 or a 4-for-1 in the favor of Cupid there. Big kills going to the pockets of both Bio and specifically Adam. 2, 1, and 0 on this Ryze. Kind of jet setting him towards that goal, right? He's going for that full scaling mid lane pick here. That's also going to net them Grubs. Yeah, like you said, a bit of a wacky flash from Dardoch. Maybe getting a little too overzealous, looking for that reset, I believe, onto Hub, who was relatively low, was at that like 25, 30% HP threshold for a while. Just could not get that kill going, and really well played fight from Cupid Esports. I talked about how Supernova wanted to be the ones to skirmish. They need the tools, though. They need the Annie, flash stun, right? They need Dardoch in place. It kind of felt like that skirmish was taken a bit hastily, we'll say it, right? They felt the pressure coming in from Cupid. They really didn't want to give those grubs over, and instead went face first into a fight that they just weren't ready for.
They just didn't have the numbers for either. We didn't get to talk about it because the fight kicked off, but because it was topside where Calculus was covering, Royal didn't have TP, and that really made the difference. Because if you get that between worlds with the Annie and the Viego ult, even if it's, you know, ulting on top of yourself, it's a much different fight there for Supernova, who are still ahead in gold, but the grubs, I feel like, were the real big prize here for Cupid Esports on the back end, and they haven't even had to give the Dragon back over. Still not prioritized here by Supernova, as Bio is prioritizing making ABO's life a living hell. He wants to get revenge for his mid laner in that game one, and he's damn doing it with the point of his spear. Gets the Crescent Guard to kill. That's style points over to Bio as he goes on a killing spree. Oh,
fight's not done.
It's Breezy, and just like that, Supernova find the pick right back. It's the Breezy diff coming through. There's the first reset for Mr. Dardoch, and that should secure them the Dragon.
Really good play from Cupid there. Bio and Boruto unfortunately rewards him. I'm gonna int too, guys, as he goes down right when that Dragon. It was supposed to be there.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
We breaking out at Dante's Inferno.
Revenge.
Dr. Calculus, revenge. Oh, more auto, come on. A little bit more. Yeah, Dr. Calculus solos out the Aurora top, and Breezy also completely out of position. 8 early kills here for Cupid, making this look a lot more like a series.
Slayer, the Xin Zhao is 3-0, and the Rise is 3 kills right now. That's not looking good for Supernova. It's not too bad if the Xin Zhao's got a bunch of kills, but the fact that Rise is now accelerated into his item power spikes, into a Blaze Olive who's playing that Annie, who is definitely not going to outscale this guy. Like, it is looking a little rough right now. Cupid could run away with this game. A couple more kills like that, and Supernova might be staring down the barrel of a 1-1 series.
Oh, they're just getting aggressive.
Uh-oh. Hub?
Sweet Hub.
Wait, it's not Hub. It's not him.
No, it's a fake out. It's still a dead member of Cupid. I don't really care if it was Hub or Boruto. It's another kill over to Dardoch.
Man. That might be the saving grace for Supernova. 3-1-1 on your Viego jungle. Starting to tear through these fights. Once that On the Hunt gets popped, a Blaze Olive starts running at you with this charged Annie stun, ready to go with Tibbers. Like, it is a menacing sight for Cupid to kind of go through. As now he's gonna jump onto Bio, and I don't know if that's gonna get him anything.
He's trying to stop him stealing his jungler's camps, I think. I mean, he does save the Gromp for Dardoch, and Dardoch is coming back with a Trinity Force. So, Bio, as much as he's ahead, you do have to respect wherever this Viego comes up on the map. And yeah, you know what? ABO, saving camps for his jungler. Why can't I get that from my solo queue junglers? So that's a great pop blossom, though, from Boruto under his own turret, but Breezy able to dip on out, as Rakan always does.
Man, Breezy and Jerry took quite a bit of plates down on that bottom side there. No grubs as well for themselves. That's just pure raw AD coming out from Sivir there with that Essence Reaver, who's going to be able to push these lanes in. There's that Kraken Slayer that we talked about, finished for Hub. Will start probably building towards that Runens, and like we said, IE, that's going to be the big power spike for them, because the way Runens and IE works with her spheres is Adam might be in trouble.
Charm, knock up, ignite, everything on over this Rise. Flashes away, but think one more auto thanks to On the Hunt, the most complicated ultimate in League of Legends. It's Scary Jerry a kill.
Yeah, it's hard. Pressing R and clicking forward is difficult, man. You'd be surprised.
It has a whole one-sentence description there, Shibby. Oh, Bio. No! Oh, Cupid are starting to really throw away their lead. Bio's going to die. That's Dardoch on a killing spree. Like we talked about, you got to make sure you don't make any mistakes against this Supernova team, but it's actually Dardoch who gets a little too big for his britches. Kill back over towards the Nico, who does get traded out by Scary Jerry. So even after Dardoch's heroics, it's still a win for Supernova on this bot side.
And they're going to get first turret gold for themselves. That's going to lock up Feats of Warfare. And Scary Jerry just got spoon-fed 3 kills. Like, I'm not even kidding. Adam ran into him, then Bio ran into him, and then Nico ran into him. Like,
Sivir's such an interactive and playmaking champion. He did that all on his own.
Mind control. Yeah, I think Sivir has a 5th secret ability.
Oh, ABO. All right, this game's getting a little bit. Yep. Let's throw the thumbs up. Let's keep the mental, because And he should not be. I've seen way too many missed Tim results for a champion that is so simplistic with that combo.
I mean, Hub Flash. It's a flash for flash. I'll take it. Like, it is what it is.
Oh, did Hub Flash? No, I don't think Hub Flash.
No,
Because
that was just his dash.
Yeah, it was his dash. Because look at the timer for Hub's flash versus ABO's. It should be on the same if they both flash, but Hub's is a little bit further
Hub's is a
along.
little bit. Yeah, unfortunate quality gap on my end. I was like looking at it. I was like, it's almost the same. But that must have been Yunara's dash there. Good job from Hub for reacting. I like this. The double bio setup. Nico, or in this case, Boruto, using the full advantage. He's like, hey guys, I'm just face checking.
Look,
it's me. It's Zinzao.
It's me bio inting. Look. Oh, maybe it's now.
Wait, what?
Who's really inting now? 3-man Pop Blossom. Boruto, he doesn't even go down. He flashes, dashes back out, shut down onto Scary Jerry. It does work wonders, but Dardoch's able to get a reset in the middle of the Between Worlds and now trying to get as much damage out as he can, but it's Hub that goes on the double kill. The Yunara has transcended, and that means it's end time for Supernova. ABO gets a stun back, and Hub actually able to go down, but Dr. Calculus is revenge as he crawls back up from Dante's Inferno. Grabs himself another kill. Problem is, the real hell he's been stuck in since the early game is hunting him down to find a trade kill. Flash over the wall will get him away from X-Royal, and just like that, we leave another very messy fight with the kill count dead even once more.
I'm shocked that they just allowed Boruto to walk into that, but you saw the clone being used, and they just let him walk in for a 3-man Pop Blossom. Like, that was insane. Like, that should never work.
Man.
That guy should be chunked out and dead before anything happens. So
I miss North America.
I'm just confused, Supernova. Like, a lapse in judgment potentially. Regardless, the fight goes even 12-12 apiece. 30,000 gold for each of these guys. 200 gold, 300 separates these two teams. Game 1 was relatively dominant from Supernova. They were almost always in the driver's seat. Game 2, Clown Fiesta right now. Like, this is coming into the makings of a Game 3.
I can't tell if I go back and forth between I'm disappointed in the decision making. Breezy dashes onto Boruto and gets knocked out by Bio. He is out, but that's basically his ult and dash down. I can't tell if I'm more disappointed with the decisions made by both of these teams or just more entertained by the decisions made by both of these teams. By the way, Dr. Calculus wins this now. I think. He's really tanky. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. All right. I'm sorry, Dr. Calculus. I think I can't decide who I think wins this anymore. I'm like a seesaw trying to figure out who's going to win this. It's X-Royal. Yep, the Between Worlds, Aurora passive diff. And also helps that Dardoch's covering for him, so Dr. Calc can't even go in. But Dr. Calc does earn his team a Rift Herald.
Yeah, survived long enough. Might not be Dante's Inferno, but X-Royal is definitely Dr. Calculus' like sleep paralysis demon, bro. Like, he's just waiting. He's just waiting. He's like, oh, you remember me? I'm back. You have not got rid of me here, Dr. Please, please.
It's like it's like Kyle Pitts on your draft board soon for your fantasy football drafts, just like terrorizing you. Oh my God, Yunara might be better than a 28% win rate. Scary Jerry is very, very low. Ablaze Olive.
That's lethal tempo.
Yeah, that is lethal tempo. Gets the stun down on a bio, but I don't think there's any angle to fight here because Dardoch is also far too low. Timbers, start tanking some of this damage. All right, nobody dies. We're fine. Nobody dies, Breezy. Nobody dies. All right, we're good.
Yeah, Tipper's going to be the lone sacrifice. Yeah, that was lethal tempo plus the Yunara ultimate coming in. Like, yeah, he absolutely chunked. Now, this is what I want to ask you, Slayer. Imagine that, but now that person has Infinity Edge. I don't think anyone survives. I think everybody just dies there. Unfortunately, Breezy, he's going to be able to jump on out of there. Dragon goes over into the favor, I believe. 1-1 both of these guys, but that Rift Herald, like you said, picked up by Cupid. How they're going to use this will be interesting, as I have seen some very wild Rift Herald shenanigans in ACL specifically. I don't know what it is about the ACL, but Rift Herald just has absolute mind control powers over it.
Just don't let your AD carries in them. That's my rule. That's my rule of thumb. AD carries do not have Rift Herald driver's licenses, so let's hope that holds up in this one. As we take stock of the map, though, Shibby, with the game so even in Drake's and a lot of these neutral objectives, I do want to give a slight advantage to Cupid with those 3 grubs. They have mid-tier 1 and top-tier 1 knocked down. I think that Dr. Calculus should be able to get the bot-tier 1. And there isn't a lot of inherent value when you have all the tier 1 turrets down on the enemy side for playing the map specifically.
Yeah, and that's kind of supported by that really aggressive play they made onto the Grubs around that 7.5-minute mark, where they essentially moved everybody from the bottom side. They put 5 people onto that top side Grubs. They took that skirmish where Dardoch flashed in and unfortunately could not get the kill. And we talked about them prioritizing that Grubs because they have fantastic side laners with the Rise, with the Scion, and they are being rewarded bountifully with it at the moment as Adam is on that top side matching X Royal. Mind you, 2 items in at 20 minutes. The Seraphs fully stacked. Roa 3 stacks away from being fully stacked. Adam is very strong here, but Royal not to be outdone. 2 items as well as Hub.
That's I believe that's just a little
on the hunt.
piece of the Yunara damage. Yeah, it is on the hunt. Such a critical ultimate to lose there. All right, here's an actually more important ultimate. Breezy gets the charm. Tactical nuke incoming onto the Yunara. Goodbye, go Baruto. It's actually the fake Yunara that falls because Hub, the real one, just dog walks Scary Jerry on the back end of this fight. Bio trying to get X Royal caught up between worlds. Is keeping X Royal alive until he eats a Q to the face from Adam. Dardoch, reminder, did not get a single reset. He actually has to heartbreak over the wall. When he flashes after Hub, the stun doesn't matter. Hub manages to flash for flash. And he's got the big bodyguard Bio to set him up for another kill. And it's just ABO left up. And there's nowhere to hide. Oh, tactical TP. Come on. Calculus. No!
A Blaze Olive T-pose is out of there. He's literally just left. And that's going to be another Otacon in game 2 now for Cupid Esports. Mind you, they got the one in game 1 with a little bit more turbulence here, but in this one should be a lot smoother. Like you mentioned, the tactical nuke went on to Hub, but it was a fake. It was Baruto on the Nico that actually got blown up here. And like you said, Hub has now absolutely gotten to the power spike that we wanted when this Yunara definitely picked up those kills. Is going to get to the IE. Dr. Cackless, can you walk it out? There's a couple of mosquitoes on your back.
And luckily they're not carrying any Leandries or malaria to deal with. So yeah, he just kind of walks on out of that one. I guess no, Royal wasn't there. That joke lands. I blame you, Shimmy. This stuff comes out only when I'm casting with you, bro.
Fair. I mean, no, yeah, luckily not carrying any, life-threatening diseases. Dr. Calculus, completely fine. Although he's the doctorate in...
He is the doctor, so...
Math, not medicine.
No MD. It's a PhD, not an MD, folks.
Yeah, unfortunately. But Dr. Calculus, that should be enough as they've dropped that Rift Herald. Cupid Esports 2 seconds before the Dragon. River Control going over to Supernova. This is the play they have to make.
Dardoch.
If this doesn't land...
Dardoch, that's not who you want to face check. Oh no, the VA goes down. All right, here we go. Now Cupid can really start running through it. All right, Pop lost a flash onto only Breezy. Does get rooted. ABL lands a good stun charm in the knockups, but the Yunara has transcended. Run away. Hub is looking to take kills, not names. Gets himself a double. X Royal able to slip on out here. Herald jumped in by not an AD carry, so this should just be a normal crash. All right, if Naruto does crash that one in, but another win for Cupid.
Esports, that early game lead that we talked about, Yunara specifically, Hub, 6-1-8 on this champion at the moment. And Scary Jerry looked fine. He was 3-0-1 at one point. He just isn't able to get off the damage that he needs to. It's a relatively short-range composition for Supernova here. So the fact that Yunara can kind of free hit with all the spheres and the lethal tempo coming in, that transcended state as well, allowing him to do that AoE damage with the runes. Like, this Yunara pick, I'm going to be honest, Cupid cooked with this one. Is right now they're just shredding through Supernova at the moment. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think there's anything that can kill Dr. Calculus at the moment. The guy's 2.5 items, has been stacking Scion passive plus the grass tree passive. Like, he is absolutely monstrous. And that has netted them a 5,000 gold lead for Cupid Esports here. But the difference maker between the top NACL teams and the kind of top ACL teams is the fact that NACL teams can come back from this deficit.
And they do, in this game specifically for Supernova, have unique ways to get into the backline and get past Calculus. Khan always meets that mark. Aurora is a huge one as well that, maybe not be doing any damage to Calculus anymore, but can slip behind with Between Worlds. ABO should have Flash up shortly. You have Heartbreaker as well to dash through a front line. There are a lot of ways for Supernova to get to this Yunara, to get in that first reset, to get back towards Adam, force his stasis out. It's just about executing.
Yeah, and there's a pretty scary prospect of Dardoch taking over Hub, right? Getting that reset, and then him himself playing the Yunara with that build and just running through whatever Cupid Esports is. So they've got to make sure that Hub stays safe. Did not bring the cleanse, mind you, into the Annie, into the Rakan. It's instead relying on his mechanics, relying on that ghost here. No, Mikhail's as well, bringing over for Bruto there. As Adam might be dead.
Oh, he gets charmed out of his Realm Warp. He's going to burn the Zanyas. I think he just accepts death there. Just like you called out, Shibby, Supernova know how to play from behind.
Yeah, really well played there, overloading that top side and kind of stopping whatever push that was happening from Adam there. And then,
Bio! Oh, good flash there from Dardoch. He gets away from the Pop Blossom. Breezy did a pretty good job protecting. Ghost does come down from Hub. And this dude is just disgusting! That is so gross. He immediately gets a double kill, and, well, it's just Yunara diff because Bio's now running down Royal. ABO, he's going to have to leave his top laner. That's a triple kill over to Hub. I'm ignoring champion win rates forever now when it comes to the ACL.
That is disgusting. That is disgusting, by the way. No flash, just ghosted in, dashed, and got the double kill there. And yeah, this 3-item power spike Slayer, I hinted at, I talked about it. This is where Yunara becomes an absolute monster. It's not 200 here, it's 2 million. As right now, this guy is running the Rift. 9, 1, and 8. Supernova just have to fight away from this, and it's virtually impossible because they want to fight as a group. They want to skirmish, and Yunara just absolutely burns through any sort of power you have before you're allowed to play the game here. Blaze Olive has just not been able to land these Annie stuns, has not been able to land these clutch ultimates onto the right targets, and that therefore Dardoch just can't get things going.
And it's way too squishy. That's the one problem with this sort of all-in Viego build. You're collector on a jungler, so you are so... I mean, you got 3-shot by the Yunara alongside Breezy. Yeah, what I want to see here from Cupid is better side lane play, trying to close out the game. That's another thing when we talk about ACL versus NACL teams that I think is room for improvement. So especially with the Baron up now, want to see some solid 4-1s, protect Hub, but get him close up towards these turrets. And with Realm Warp up and, Flash available for Adam, should just be pretty safe wherever they take him on the 1 of the 4-1 side.
Oh, this is not the bush. No. It's like they saw you. Scary Jerry does have that wave clear in. 3 items on Scary Jerry. They did not hit it.
I think, oh god, please tell me they know that ABO is that way. Oh, all right, well, it's actually a shutdown. There, they got Hub. Breezy charms him up. Dardoch gets the reset. A lifeline for Supernova, who is now the Yunara to be feared. Another shutdown, double kill picked up for Dardoch. It's a complete mess here for Cupid. They've lost their crown jewel, and now the rest of the mental crumbles across the line. Dardoch with the triple kill. Adam, the only one to survive to tell the disasterly tale.
I think you're right. They didn't find ABO in that bush. They didn't even try to hit him. I think he got a flash tipper stun on that bottom side there. Very well played from Supernova. A bit cheesy, a bit flimsy, but it still works into Cupid. Like you mentioned, Dardoch, when he took over that Yunara, the guy was getting 3-shot. That's going to be Dragon coming over into the favor of Supernova. 2 apiece, 1 mountain for everybody. And the Dragon control has been... I will say a bit dodgy this series. Both teams not really prioritizing it as much as you think they should.
Yeah, I think Cupid were fine because they were the grub team, but it is really weird. It's still a very clear win con. Nothing has really changed about the Dragon stacking, especially now that we know it's a Mountain Soul. Like, come on, look how much burst, especially on the Supernova side. Cupid so far ahead. You would have liked them to get Mountain Soul, because now it's really the burst is what's going to lose in the game. Now we've seen the proverbial ball go in the basket for Supernova. They have dropped the bomb on Hub once, and if they could keep doing that all game long, they could get themselves a sweep win. We thought Cupid should have really been forced in this Series 3.
Yeah, potentially better teams take that lead that they had where it was 4,000 or 5,000 gold and just turn that into a win here. Mentioned Supernova at that level, the best NACL team definitely can come back against what is, what many would consider probably a top ACL team if NACL teams weren't competing, right? Like this roster probably would be a Seed 1 team if the likes of NACL weren't competing in here. Hub, very good AD carry in his own right. Bio, obviously a very good jungler. Like, these guys competed at the NACL level, and many believe that they got better over time, right? They looked dodgy in their first couple of matches, and they just got better and better and better. So I'm glad to see these guys kind of have an opportunity here, but Cupid have to close this out. They have to get the 1-1 match score. We are in a best of 3, and right now Supernova is leading 1-0. It looks like they're slowly but surely crawling back into favor. Baron going to be spawning in about 2 minutes. That should allow Cupid Esports to set this up here. Supernova do have to kind of play vision clear duty right now because they were so far pushed into their base, right? Mind you, mid lane inhibitor turrets down, tier 1s down across the map here. Supernova don't really have the best of map states to play with, and Cupid need to take advantage of that. As Royal, I don't think you win that. Like, I really don't think you do.
He does have Riftmaker now, which makes this a little bit better. It's still very close. It was Calculus favored a bit ago, but now Royal's got some more gold. Before we set up for, you know, a Baron fight in a minute 30 or the next Dragon, I think will really speed this game back up. I do want to point out that Cupid have really, with items, now shut down that Viego win con. With the GA comes through for Hub and the Zhonya's completed for Adam. Those are, and the Sterex as well, right? So these are all should be perfect ways to deny that Dardoch reset we saw finally come through in that last fight for Supernova.
Yeah, it's anti-burst tools out the wazoo right now, right? Hub can die, and he's got a lot of mobility, right? Out of that Guardian Angel, with the Flash, with the Ghost here. Like you mentioned, Adam, the Zhonya's. Like, it is very tough for Dardoch to find these resets, even if they do get they have to, like, effectively stun lock somebody or CC lock them for a while.
Dardoch and Breezy both get caught. I think Breezy's gonna have to die. The question is, Dardoch, can he get out here? Bio is separated from the rest of his team. The threat of the TP of X-Roy on the flank actually held all of Cupid at bay. Luckily, Bio doesn't end up paying with his life, but that's Breezy going down with Baron up in about 30 seconds. He will hit the Rift right when that spawns, so Cupid should have control of mid lane, should have control of the river, and now they're going after Royal. The Realm Warp is just going to only force Royal to dash over the wall. The slipperiness of this Aurora, able to take an ultimate away.
Yeah, and Cupid have to be careful. Breezy actually swapped out his summoner spell for TP here so that he'll make it for this Baron in the event that Cupid try to start this on spawn. Mind you, they do definitely have the damage, right? Like, Hub, 4 items right now, is at that 3-item power spike. If you don't really count GA as like a damage-orientated item, they are going to be able to burst, especially with Rise at 3.5 items nearly. So it looks like Breezy is going to swap out that TP back to his regular summoner spell.
Here though.
Ultimates are available.
There's no Heartbreaker for this Viego out of Dardoch. They're going to engage on a Breezy again. Double Dust Spinning Smash over the wall comes across from Dr. Calculus, and now Royal is low. They're finally going to get this Aurora, right? Gets between worlds down before he goes out. Charm is going to layer on top of this Rise. No, they actually pick up Baruto on the backside. It's Adam and Hub trying to hold the line on the flip-flop, but it's the Timbers. Will it get enough? Hub, he's getting run down by Timbers again through the GA. Timbers MVP for Supernova. But they're still at a man disadvantage. It's just Dardoch. They're trying to play through here. It's Flash after Adam. The Heartbreaker over the wall. Dardoch again. Clutch at the end of the fight. It's only Bio left up, but not for long. Breezy finds the knock-up, and now Dardoch, just a couple more Qs thrown down from this Rise. Should pick up the ace, and it will be Supernova. Come back from behind.
ABO played that fight fantastically on the back end there, essentially buying up Hub and Bio's time, and Timbers 6th man of the year, right? Like, absolutely picking up that final kill. Mind you, Hub's build does not have a lick of lifesteal, so when he's busy autoing the Timbers is closing the gap, unable to orb walk, and unfortunately does go down. That's going to be a Mountain Dragon going into the hands of Supernova, and they might be looking for the 2-for-2. They might go for Dragon into the Baron, potentially. 8 seconds on Adam, 15 on the jungler here, Bio. There is a play to be made for Supernova.
Wow, I just realized that's a good call, Shibby. Maybe they kind of waited a couple seconds before killing Bio off, and I was wondering why. Maybe it was to try and disrupt the reset timers. Maybe I'm cooking a little bit too much here. But they won't go for the Baron. Yeah. They won't go for the Baron play nonetheless. They'll just try and clear out vision. Oh, is it just going to be a call? All right, Cupid, they want to keep the tempo up to the max here. They're spotted going for Baron once more. Everybody from Supernova is here with their ultimates back online, so we're just going for Deja Vu-esque play. Breezy, clutch charm is going to make sure the Baruto gets 0 value out of that Pop Blossom, and Dardoch goes in for the first reset. The stuns land onto Hub. No GA, no problem for Supernova, and this time the fight isn't even anywhere as close as it was the first time round. It's only going to be Breezy falling down, and Supernova might not even need the Baron, showing why they're not just the class of the NACL, they're the class of the ACL. Down mid lane they go for the 2-0 sweep.
A cacophony of errors for Cupid Esports. Their wings get ripped off by Supernova here as they're going to push in for the game. And it was long, it was hard, but unfortunately for Cupid Esports, they are going to go down 2-0 here. A 35-minute victory for Supernova. Mind you, playing with X-Royal in the top lane.
Final kill. It's Baruto to go down. Substitute, no problem. Supernova drop one game last week. Right the wrongs. They sweep out a Pool 2 team to stay undefeated in the GSLs.
That was Cupid's game to win. That was Cupid's game to win, and it fell through their hands, unfortunately for them. Really good plays coming out from Supernova there. Some clutch Annie stuns. We talked about how ABO could not hit them. He wasn't finding them. Hell, he even missed a flash stun onto Hub earlier in the mid lane and was like, all right, I'll take it as it is. But just finding the good ones in those fights and allowing Dardoch to reset. Once that locomotive engine started to go, it was kind of impossible for Cupid to stop it. Once Hub goes down, you don't really have a lot to lean back on. Unfortunately, Adam on this rise, even though he got a pretty sizable gold lead and got accelerated with this rise, right? He was 3-1-0, I think. 2.5 items, 3 items at one point. It never felt like this rise could get things going.
No, and it again is the, I guess we could describe it in the ACL terms. I want to say the difference between Pool 1 and Pool 2 teams, because we're going to use the benchmark a lot. You're going to hear it a lot around the ACL of the, it's NACL teams and the ACL teams, but I think the better way to phrase it, knowing what the pools are, like, yeah, pool 1 is, yeah, Citadel, Supernova, CCG, and Papa's Chonks, but Papa's Chonks now is virtually Winthrop. So it's Citadel, Supernova, CCG, and Winthrop. This is the caliber Pool 1 teams are going to bring every single week. So teams like Komodo, teams like Lotus X Spellbinders, Cupid Esports, the Milky Sports rosters, like, even when you are ahead, you need to have premier setup. You need to have premier understandings of the map, because one little, inch of room, it's just busted open by teams like Supernova, who will make this comeback look pretty easy once they got that first final reset and kill onto Hub.
Yeah, that's kind of the difference, right, between like NACL level teams versus like, kind of scratching the top of the surface for ACL teams. Like we mentioned, if NACL teams probably weren't competing in this ACL, Cupid would be a Pool 1 team for sure, right? Like It would be a lock. But the fact that Supernova coming back into the game, understanding their win conditions, understanding how to set up these fights, right? Playing the vision perfectly. I just have to go back to like ABO and Dardoch really just playing the vision traps excellently well and playing off of each other. Also, that last fight, you picked it up, Slayer. Breezy did a really good job interrupting the Pop Blossom with the charm. That was the main play. And Breezy in game 1 on the Bard and in game 2 on the Rakan, the unsung hero, right? Did a lot of stuff that a lot of people aren't going to notice, but actually facilitated his team towards that victory. Very well played from Breezy on 2 champions, like the Bard and the Rakan. Like, he's got way more in his pocket, in his bag, like you mentioned. That is a very sneaky support, like you said, paired up with Scary Jerry of everyone. Like a guy that has 1 CLOL, or sorry, a guy that has 1 NACL, has won everything, right? The fact that he's gotten promoted to that tier 1 level, like that's the perfect AD carry to be paired with, and Breezy is just absolutely flourishing on the Supernova roster.
Glad to see my fellow Philly dog flourishing there for Breezy. Supernova as a whole come away flourishing in the later stages of the games. Definitely the takeaway here is that Cupid showed these NACL teams, with their gauntlet of a schedule they're playing in NACL and NACL at the same time, are somewhat mortal, but they're not beatable just yet. Supernova going to get the 2-0 sweep here on the Salt Mine. Big shout out to Shibby getting to chop it up, talk about Dante's Inferno, Malaria came up at some point. We went a lot of different ways, but we had a fun one here. Shout out to the awesome Hummus as well, our producer behind the scenes. That will wrap up the first day of 2 in week 2 of the ACL GSL stage here from the Salt Mine. We're going to go ahead and rate over to Aegis, where About is also going down, I believe, with Papa's, Winthrop's Papas, I'll call him that, on the main stage. So we'll go ahead and rate over there, folks, and we'll be back here on the Salt Mine for more action tomorrow. Until then, take care.